Absolutely none. And so you were in the wrong place. You didn't know why you were there, or you know how you got there, and you couldn't go where you're supposed to go.
Those assault troops who were lucky enough to get across the beach faced an even greater peril, and that was, what do you do now? And for the moment, the only thing they could do was lie on their stomachs, because if they raised their head or stood up, they had a good chance of having it blown off. You couldn't go back and you couldn't go forward.
When I was hurt, shot on that there, and I'm laying on the beach, I felt bad that I wasn't able to be part of the group I was with. In fact, my conscience bothered me that I didn't. Here I am, just laying here. That bothered me. I hadn't done anything.
But the miracle of the assault of Omaha Beach now began. The displaced group of elite US Rangers from Point du Hoc arrived on the beach in the wrong place, but at the right time. And the impetus they brought would help to turn a potential disaster into victory. Joining up with the remnants of other units, these 500 extra men would fight their way off the beach and up the bluffs to attack the German positions from the rear.
Well, I found out later that a general from the 29th, 116th Infantry came up to Colonel Snyder of the 5th Rangers, and he said, "We're jammed up on this beach." He said, "You got to get these Rangers off the beach and lead the way up that hill."
The arrival of these guys is going to have an incredibly important effect. Going up those bluffs, inland to the village of Vierville, securing a defensive position against German counterattacks and outflanking the German positions along the bluffs here. It's going to be absolutely critical to the American success.
They pass the word when that wire blows, everybody goes through that wire and we go straight up that hill and everybody stays in line.
Had those Rangers gone where they were supposed to be, what would have been the ramifications of that?
Yeah, if we'd had the 500 Rangers who landed here going to the Point du Hoc as they should have done, then the soldiers here, the few survivors of the initial assault waves, probably would have been pinned down for many more hours. Who knows what might have happened? The Germans might have been able to launch counterattacks from this end of the beach to roll up the American position from the flank. And this part of Omaha Beach, the western end of Omaha Beach, is a real disaster. It's bad everywhere, but the western part is particularly bad. So the arrival of these Rangers, really, we can't exaggerate its significance. It's really very important indeed.
What had been so nearly a disaster was turned into a victory. The American soldiers fought their way off Omaha Beach to join up with the British and Canadians. The Normandy landings had succeeded. Of course, the war in Europe didn't end on D-Day, and another 200,000 Allied servicemen would die before victory was secured a year later. But it marked the beginning of the end. This is a monument to the US Rangers, and what they did was incredible. But they were just one small unit within a huge American, Canadian and British force. Men died on all the assault beaches, and they all need to be remembered. But perhaps because it was the toughest and the bloodiest, Omaha Beach has become a symbol to represent all of the Normandy invasion. So the Allied commanders knew that Omaha Beach was going to be bad. In fact, they planned for a worst-case scenario of 6,000 casualties. And that, to me, makes it an even more heroic story, because the men themselves knew it was a numbers game. They knew that some of them wouldn't be coming back.
There's no more room for angels to dance or even stand. upon this pounding tangle, bleeding sugar from our heads, bleeding acid from our feet. Won't you help me count my sheep? Won't you help me count my sheep tonight?
You can rattle off the names. Sergeant Biddle, he was from Philadelphia. Daniels, he was in trouble all the time. He was always on KP and that there. He was always doing things he shouldn't have been doing in that there, but when he was about to go, he was mumbling away about his mother and that there. He knew he was going, you know, so you never forgot that. There's Ed So, our first sergeant, is there. Joe Rafferty, our captain, he's there. When you wonder what the biggest impact was in your life, you know, well, D-Day was my biggest one. Nothing came close. To believe that, 60-some years or something, that I'd be still alive. Coming in there, boy, if I could live another day, that would be kind of nice.
If you'd like to learn more about Omaha Beach, listen to our podcast or talk to our expert, log on now at bbc.co.uk/Timewatch.